I'll tell you what, the man is a showman. Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Rodriguez, and welcome to the latest edition of Dodgers Latest right here on our YouTube channel. We continue to grow thanks to you. We appreciate all the support, the comments. We reach out to you when and every time we get a comment from you. Of course, hit me up right there at Instagram and on X at JRodShow. And yeah, I'll tell you what, we finally saw the return of Shohei Ohtani on the mound. 28 pitches, gave up 1 run. And that was even kind of weird. I thought it was a strike 3 to Manny Machado. They didn't call the check swing. Later ended up giving up a sac fly. And Andy Pages almost threw out Fernando Tatis at home. But as it turns out, it was 1 inning, 28 pitches, no strikeouts, no walks. But with the bat, typical Shohei, had a couple of knocks and knocked in 2 runs, including tying the game up. Ends up getting a no decision with the 1 inning. Dodgers win 6-3 against San Diego. They now have a 4-game lead over the Padres in the National League West. The Giants are now 2.5 games back of the Dodgers and in second place. LA atop the heap, 44-29 to lead the division. And for the Dodgers, what a return for Shohei, right? The place was packed, all the atmosphere, and I cannot just stress what a unicorn Shohei Ohtani is. To go out there, pitch after, almost 22 months of rehab, to then go out there, pitch an inning, and struggle. He didn't look great. And the Padres were smart. You kind of knew they were going to do this. They were going to make him throw pitches. He ended up throwing 28 pitches, and once we got past 20 pitches, 22 pitches, we knew that was going to be it for Shohei. They weren't going to let him pitch more than 1 inning because it was his first start since August of 2023. But he kept his composure. He threw 1 ball to the backstop. Andy Pages almost threw a runner out at the plate to help out Ohtani. But then, typical Ohtani, right? He pitches the inning, 28 pitches, gives up the run, and then turns the chip back into a hitter, goes 2 for 4 with 2 runs batted in, including a double to help the Dodgers win the game. So now the big question is, okay, great. He has made the return. So now what? Right? How does he feel today? That will go a long way to see if we see more of Shohei on the mound. He would be scheduled to pitch again if you go by a 5-man rotation, probably Saturday against the Washington Nationals. Dodgers would be off on Monday before heading out to the Midwest. They go to Colorado and Kansas City on the next road trip. So it'll be interesting to see how he feels today in terms of his pitching arm, and then if he will pitch another game over the weekend against the Nats, either Saturday or Sunday, as an opener. So the Dodgers getting some good news and some good results from Shohei Ohtani and the bullpen as well, as they came in, 8 innings of bullpen work. Now, another good news is Emmett Sheehan. He is going to be back with the Dodgers. He had Tommy John surgery after a pretty good 2023. He was 4-1 that year and missed all of 24 with Tommy John surgery. So he is set to return on Wednesday. I'll tell you what, this has been a big week with Shohei and now Emmett Sheehan, the 25-year-old. Is with the team. He's with the team, in terms of in the dugout, in the clubhouse, and he has rejoined the team. 25 years old, again, another Tommy John alumni. So he will be back on the mound on Wednesday. Dodgers still haven't announced who they're going to start tonight against Randy Vasquez. Probably it'll be another bullpen game. We did see Kasparius pitch yesterday as he ended up getting the win in relief of Ohtani. So could it be a Justin Robleski game? It could be another bullpen game, and then it'll be another bullpen game on Wednesday as the return of Emmett Sheehan to the rotation. And this is huge. Why? Well, because the Dodgers still know what's going on with Tony Gonsolin. They put him on the injured list with a bad elbow, another injury. But as one goes, another one returns. It'll be great to see Emmett Sheehan, who was pretty nasty in his return, or his when he came up with the Dodgers in 23, missed all of last year. So another case of a guy who has risen from the ashes, if you will, to return to the mound, and he will be on the mound Wednesday against the Padres. Now, typical Dodgers-Padres, right? It gets spicy, and Andy Pages wasn't having any of it. He got hit by Dylan Cease in the fourth inning. Dodgers were winning the game, and Andy kind of looked at him, made a sign like, "Hey man, throw it over the plate. Don't hit me." Mike Shildt, the Padres manager, was yelling at Andy Pages, saying, "Who the F are you to yell at my guy?" Well, this is a guy who probably should be in the running for the All-Star game. That's who Andy Pages is. Andy, as usual, has been dominating the with the bat. He is, to me, what a story of perseverance, right? Remember at the beginning of the season, you say he was striking out too much, making all sorts of base running problems, looked like a disaster out in the outfield, but he has turned it all around, and now, in my opinion, he is a legitimate all-star. But before we get to that, let's get back to the spiciness. It's just, it's funny how for such a long time, it was Dodgers-Giants. Dodgers-Giants. That seemed to be the rivalry. Well, now it's quickly turned, and now it's Dodgers-Padres. I love this rivalry. Manny Machado got into it with Dave Roberts. We've seen, even through the years, Zach Greinke hit a batter, and there was a big brawl. I think it's the closeness. Remember, LA to San Diego is closer to LA to San Francisco. So you got the same fan bases. Dodger fans go to San Diego. San Diego fans come to LA. They've met in the postseason multiple times now, and I love it. I think regular season can be too long. It's even though it's not as long as it's longer than the NBA. The NBA regular season feels longer than the MLB season. But these are the kind of games that wake you up. These are the kind of games that make you go, yeah, this is intense. These are playoff kind of games. And oh, by the way, the Dodgers have beaten the Padres 3 out of 4 so far this season. Won 2 out of 3 in San Diego last week and beat them last night. 3 more games in this series, tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday. So we'll see if there's any hangover over the Andy Pages chirping at Mike Shildt and Dylan Cease. All right, so we talked about Andy Pages. We talked about the season he's having. Look at those numbers. 282, 13 homers, 46 RBIs. To me, he is a legitimate all-star candidate. And the voting is out for the all-star game. And it's pretty amazing. Dave Roberts will be the manager. The game is in Atlanta. Freddie Freeman leads at first base. Tommy Edman is second in the voting to start at second base. Max Muncy is second at third. Mookie Betts is second at short. Will Smith is the leader among National League catchers. Teoscar Hernandez is third in outfield voting. And, of course, Shohei, number 1 in DH. But let's get talking about Andy Pages. Listen, Pete Crow Armstrong is the leader among outfielders of the Cubs. That's a no-brainer. But when you look at who's second and who's third and who's fourth, second would be Kyle Tucker of the Cubs. Third, Teoscar Hernandez. Fourth, Juan Soto. Andy Pages has better numbers than all 3 of those guys. So if you're going to be voting, think about Andy Pages, who has deservedly put himself in a position to be at this All-Star game. And, of course, with Dave Roberts being the manager, I'm sure it'll be heavy Dodgers that will be on that roster. Wouldn't be surprised if our guy, the Cuban, number 44, Andy Pages, ends up being in Atlanta for the All-Star break. Hey, big games this week. 3 more with the Padres, including tonight. Then the Nats come to town for the weekend. Kershaw is going to pitch on Friday. Maybe we'll see Ohtani again Saturday or Sunday. Lots to get to here on Dodgers Latest. Thanks for making it part of your day. Remember, J-Rod Show on Instagram and X. Like, subscribe here for Dodgers Latest as we continue to grow. I'm Jim Rodriguez, always having fun and always telling you it's time for Dodger baseball.